When his mother died in September, King Charles III inherited more than just the crown. Under a deal struck by Queen Elizabeth II with John Major's government in 1993, British monarchs are exempt from inheritance tax when they pass on assets to the heir to the throne. The Sunday Times, a British newspaper, recently estimated the King's private wealth to be £600 million, much more than the Queen's fortune at the time of her death, which is believed to be around £370 million. The royal family's total assets are worth many times that, and the distinction between public and private wealth can be blurry. The Guardian, another paper, puts the King's fortune at about £1.8 billion. But where does Britain's royal family get its money from? It comes from the Treasury and is funded by taxpayers, as per a BBC report. As head of state, the monarch technically owns the Crown Estate, which is a collection of land and assets that includes a big chunk of central London and half of the foreshore in England, Northern Ireland and Wales. But the Crown Estate is run independently, and its profits, almost £313 million last year, go to the government. Some of this money is then given back to the royal household. Every year, the royal family gets a chunk of money from taxpayers called the sovereign grant. The basic agreement is that the royal family gets the grant in exchange for surrendering all profits from the Crown Estate, the family's massive portfolios of properties, to the government. Every year, the reigning monarch is given an amount of money equivalent to about 25% of the Crown's estate's profit. The grant totaled about £82.2 million back in 2019, as per a report by the Wall Street Journal. The sovereign grant pays for property upkeep, utilities, the family's travel, royal employee payroll, as per the official royal family financial reports. But the Telegraph notes that the grant doesn't cover costs of security as well as royal ceremonies. That money comes from a few other places. The reigning monarch's private income is called the Privy Purse. That money comes from the Duchy of Lancaster, a portfolio of land and other assets that's been in the royal family for about hundreds of years now. It contains £548.6 million worth of net assets and is made up of residential, commercial, as well as agricultural properties. That brought in about £20.7 million back in 2019, as per reports. Now, according to the royal family website, this sum helps with costs not covered by the sovereign grant. Namely, it's used to pay expenses incurred by other members of the royal family. The Queen also, as you know, outright owned 2 estates, an expansive art collection and other valuable assets that had been passed down from earlier monarchs to her. Meanwhile, the Duchy of Cornwall, yet another suite of properties owned by the royal family in the UK, covered the expenses of Prince Charles and his heirs. That means Harry and Meghan, at some point, William and Kate, and their children were all covered by the Duchy of Cornwall too. Charles paid them a combined £5 million back in 2019, according to the Wall Street Journal.